Hi, I'm Glenn Tinley with Winnipeg Men and Women Magazine as well as Marketplace Magazine. I'm here for the May, I have to think about what month it was, the May 2012 update with our Mayor Sam Katz. Thank you for having us out again.
Pleasure. I'm going to get you some cue cards.
I'm going to need cue cards. I kind of look around like something magical is going to tell me what month it is. Because it feels like July.
It does. Isn't it nice?
We spent a weekend, this weekend, away at the lake with the family. And it was 25 degrees. It was beautiful out, and I thought, it's not even May long weekend yet. It was unbelievable.
It was Mother's Day long weekend.
You made it a nice long weekend.
It
was a
good on you.
Mother's Day.
Good on you.
So let's just chat. A couple of days ago, well, last month, we, at the time, talked a little bit about, there was an announcement about a water park happening at the Forks. A few days ago now, that was officially canceled because CanAlta, the developer, sent a letter and I assume just canceled what they were going to propose. And I know that you had recused yourself, so I'm just trying to sort of close the loop on what we had originally spoke about, which was, hey, this is kind of good news. There's an announcement about this water park. Now it's a little bit up in the air. And I don't necessarily want to rehash about that specific location, but I know you've been a supporter of a water park for the city, and you were sort of trying to help get funding going, and you know there's been different locations spoke about. Point Douglas, I think David Asper originally with the football stadium proposal had a water park attached to it and different things. So what are we able to do to close the loop, and overall what might be planned for that parking lot now, or is it going to be turned over to the Human Rights Museum for parking?
Well, that was a pretty multifaceted question.
Well,
so
yeah, there's about seven different ways.
I'll try and give you some factual information. Number one, you know, I do believe as a citizen and a father of two, and you know, as a mayor, I think you know a water park in the city of Winnipeg, you know, a world-class indoor water park with all the amenities that you know you've seen in other places would be a great asset to the city, and it certainly has to be you know led by the private sector, no question about that. And as you know, we've put out requests in the past. You know, we had one which we thought was done, and that was with Canad Inns in the Polo Park area. That was actually supported by a vote of 13-3 on the floor of council. Unfortunately, that never ended up being brought to fruition. Another request was put out there. The department actually negotiated with the proponent. They came forward with a positive report. It went to council. I did recuse myself. Council decided to move a motion, you know, asking for more detailed information. And as you eloquently stated, the proponent basically has withdrawn, saying you know they can't invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, not even knowing if they have any chance. And just for clarification, what is referred to as you know the infamous Parcel 4, that is city-owned land. Right now, it's basically run by the Winnipeg Parking Authority, and they use it as a surface parking lot. That's what it is today, and that's what it will be tomorrow. What happens down the road? We don't know right now.
So there's no sort of master plan to develop that into something by the city. I mean, not necessarily through this office or council, just overall as have the city staff come in forward and said, look, we want to do something with this property to start generating some revenue.
There is no master plan, but I think the consensus is, as you know, in downtown, we are adverse to surface parking lots. And anytime you can get a surface parking lot developed with a good project, it's good for the city of Winnipeg. And so we'll just have to see what may happen down the road.
Okay. Well, with the museum going there and other things happening, you know, potentially something will go on there. But
the only thing we know for sure, there won't be a hotel or a water park or the parkade that was proposed by the proponent that is basically now withdrawn.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, and I know that we'll move on. From there.
I'll move right along with you.
Yeah. Another hot topic within the province of Manitoba has been a question on the provincial government floor by, I'm not even sure, maybe Ron Schuler, I think, from the PC party brought it up about tickets and free tickets to Jets being given to MLAs or MPs. MLAs, I should know my politics, and I recall something you had said, but in regards to how it's dealt with at the city, but maybe you can just remind us and Jets tickets are just sort of the hot topic today, but you know, what is the policy at City Council?
Well, we have a policy at City Council, at City Hall, and that is that any elected official, so that would include the mayor and council, if you get receive a gift and the value is over $250, you declare it. You know, you
Okay.
make a declaration and you give it to the city clerk, so it's on file. So that is the policy that exists here. You know, when it comes to the Winnipeg Jets, I guess I'm one of the fortunate individuals. I supported the Moose, so I have my own season tickets.
Right.
So I'm very happy I have my own season tickets.
Yeah. So you don't, I mean, but if any other councillors were to be invited to a game, theoretically they could go.
Oh yeah, of course they can go. They can definitely go.
But they don't have to. Do they have to pay for their ticket? 'Cause I know they're trying
If
to
you
legislate
were
something quickly.
to invite a city councillor to a game, they can go, and they have to declare that they received a gift.
Right.
And keep in mind, it's a gift of over $250.
Right.
You know the value of the tickets, so it depends how many times you invite them, or if you invite them with their
Okay, so-
significant other, whatever the case may be. But that is the policy here at City Hall.
Okay, because I also know, and I heard this morning an interview with an ex-advisor to Prime Minister Stephen Harper, and he had said that Manitoba, as a province, not the city, but as a province, is the only province in Canada that does not have a legislated policy as opposed to gifts.
You know,
so the city
well,
obviously.
they might be talking about, you know, the legislature. You know, okay, we have a policy here, and it's been here as long as I've been elected, and I'm sure it's been here for many decades before that.
Yeah.
And like I say, any gift over $250.
Okay, so there's our
That's
sort
it.
of there's the policy that is and has been in place. Golf courses. It's getting warm. We're talking about golf courses. Everybody's golfing. Some time ago, there was talk of privatizing or selling off the city-owned golf courses, because when you look at it as a line item on the budget, there's more money being spent than being earned. So mathematics don't work. So do we really need them as a city, and should we be managing them, or what else should we be doing with them? Has there been any movement on any of that?
You're pretty close in the way you put it. What actually happened, there was a recommendation from the auditor,
Okay.
basically pointing out that, you know, certain golf courses are losing money, and the city should explore other opportunities. So what the department did, they actually went out there for what we call an EOI, an expression of interest, to see if there was any ideas or any interest in doing, and we don't know what they might want to do, whether it's, you know, manage them or, you know, buy them or whatever the case may be, but just to see what's out there. I believe that they have gotten a response, and now we're waiting for them to bring forward a report to see if any of those conceptual ideas they're prepared to endorse and then bring forward, because that's the process. Unless the department is ready to move something forward through a process, nothing happens. So we're just waiting for that, and that will be happening in the very near future. As I've said all along, you know, nothing was ever happening in 2012.
No.
2012 was never impacted.
It was just a matter of, it was brought up. I know that obviously the CUPE, I think, the city union was sort of against this, like why, you know, because of jobs and different things. But for the public's perception, the process is moving along at the stage that it's supposed to be going at.
Yeah, and what everybody has to know is it would be a very open and transparent process, but most importantly, if there is a recommendation that comes forward, the public will definitely have the opportunity to have their say. That's the
Right.
key thing.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody has to
There'll
know.
always be
Right
public hearings of some
right
kind.
now, there is nothing on the table, so it's hard to debate or discuss,
Right.
you know, the pros and cons of it until we have one. But if something does come forward in the report from the department, then we can have these discussions.
And the reality would be that I mean, we're talking years away. Like you said, it's not 2012, it wouldn't even be 2013. You're not going to start divesting a golf course, and 2 weeks later there's going to be townhomes.
Well, no, but keep in mind, the city of Winnipeg has many golf courses that we own, but we've basically leased out long-term to the private sector. So there's some that we run, there's some that the private sector runs. It's a whole...
Well, and I don't think a lot of people
no,
understand that.
As a matter of fact, I would say the majority of the ones that we own are basically being managed and operated by the private sector.
Right.
So there you go.
So it's not, so those have to be negotiated too.
Absolutely.
So it's a long process. Okay, I just want to get an update on that.
Okay.
Finally, in our upcoming issue of Winnipeg Men and Women magazine, we're featuring the Assiniboine Park Conservancy and Margaret Redmond, who is the president of the group that runs the conservancy.
And CEO, I believe.
And CEO, and she's doing a fantastic job doing that. There's just amazing things happening there. And we've also on the Winnipeg Men side of the, so Margaret is on the cover of Winnipeg Women magazine, and on the cover of Winnipeg Men magazine is Winnipeg's own Hartley Richardson,
who happens to be chairman of the board of APC.
That's exactly right.
And many other titles, I might add.
He's got many titles, yes. And we were honored that he gave us the time to interview him and talk to him about it, because it's something that, and people are going to love reading this, because it's something he's really proud of, and it's something that Margaret has done a fantastic job, and I know she's really proud of. From the city standpoint, what they're creating there is an international tourism center that's going to bring a lot of business to the city and tourism, but it also really puts us on an international map. So I'm just in foresight of what's happening with that issue. As the mayor of the city, what's sort of your thoughts on what's going on there, where this is all going to, what legacy this is going to leave?
Let me give you and all your viewers a quick history lesson here, okay? For decades, our crown jewel, the Assiniboine Park, has been, for all intents and purposes, ignored. Okay, and a lot of it has, found a little bit decay, shall we say? Okay, because the money had not been invested to do what had to be done. That was just a fact. And for many years, they discussed it, they debated it, they hired some consultants, come up with some ideas, and nothing ever happened. I actually was in New York City, and I took a tour of Central Park and saw how it was structured, the governance model, and how it was basically done, by a board of volunteers, and how they went out in the private sector and raised money, and what they have is something very, very special. So I started saying to myself, well, why can't we duplicate that here? Because it's been shown that government cannot get the job done there, okay? Because they've been talking about this for probably 30 years now. Yeah. So, in 2008, I picked up the phone and called up Mr. Hartley Richardson and told him what my idea was to set up an Assiniboine Park Conservancy, and if he'd consider to be the chairperson. I think he probably wanted to hang up the phone, but fortunately he didn't, and we thought about it. And in the end, we were very fortunate that Hartley Richardson agreed to chair it. And they formed this entity, and they got a phenomenal group of people on their board, a lot of knowledge, a lot of passion on that. They hired Margaret Redmond as their president and CEO. And what's happened in the last 18 months, a couple years at the Assiniboine Park is absolutely unbelievable. Whether it's the duck pond, whether it's Toucan Ridge, whether it's the Qualico Family Center, it just goes on and on. As you know, the Journey to Churchill is under construction, and the city is very proud to be part of that. And just recently, we have made a commitment of $50 million over a 10-year period of time. They have a $200 million project, and it's a private-public partnership. Their goal is to raise $50 million from the private sector. I think they raised well over $20 million to date, and things are getting done, and they're doing a great job. And I commend them, and I thank them. And I'll tell you what, there was a lot of people really upset with me when we created this Assiniboine Park Conservancy. But I guarantee you, 5 years from now, they'll claim it was their idea.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. This has happened
You know how it works.
I know you've said this before. But it is, I know that we've been out there we've been out there to kids events and running events. I mean, it's amazing what's going on.
It's totally amazing, a complete transformation. And, you know, like I say, no way would it have happened without the leadership of Hartley Richardson, there is support from different levels of government, no question. The private sector was there, and they would never have been there if it wasn't for the Assiniboine Park Conservancy being that type of entity. And it's a marvelous facility, and I encourage everybody to get out there and take a look, because it's much different than what you would have seen 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and getting better every single day.
And to close the loop on your history lesson, it's interesting that the idea came from Central Park, and I've been there, and it is an amazing whole area. But Union Station here in Winnipeg is also designed by the same architect who designed Union Station in New York. So we're starting to.
I'm very impressed.
Maybe there's a sister city you could phone Mayor Bloomberg, and maybe there's something we could do.
Well, you know what?
He's got a few bucks. He
maybe he might want to be one of those private sector contributors.
Maybe he wants to build a water park.
We can name something after him at the park. But you know, the realities are, if a city has a good idea, why not try and duplicate it?
Well, yeah,
it's a good thing.
If you're gonna, Central Park has been emulated and copied many times. Wow. It's the best. I mean,
that's exactly what we're doing, and I'm very proud of Assiniboine Park Conservancy, and I do thank Hartley Richardson and the entire board and Margaret for the job they've done.
Yeah, I think they're doing fantastic. We're honored that we both had them both on this upcoming.
That's one unbelievable 1-2 punch you got there. Let me tell you.
We're very happy about that. That was all of our update. I just want to, it's a sort of a pre-summer update as we head into May long weekend and into the summer period. And I know things don't really slow down at the city because there's everything else going on. But there, summertime is traditionally lake and things like that. So the whole city.
For those of you who may have a cabin, not all of us have cabins.
Believe me, I don't. I'm looking for a camper, pop-up camper. So
I can contribute a sleeping bag if you need. Okay?
Yeah, we have those. Okay. I've got a tent that we did it last year, and I just, you know what, I got to get off the ground. I'm getting too old for this.
I hear you.
Anyway, thank you so much for your time today.
Always a pleasure.
I am Glenn Tinley with Winnipeg Man and Women Magazine and Marketplace Magazine, signing off for the May 2012 update here with our Mayor Sam Katz.